Here we go again. A new year, a new galaxy. So again over here, this would be a first part into my long-term series which would be living with. So again over here, I had my brief time with the Galaxy S20 Plus right over here, and what a phone to be honest. But as probably 1 lakh or more than a million YouTubers have already reviewed the Galaxy S20, S20 Plus or S20 Ultra, I would be just reviewing my perspective and just how is it to just live with it owning a Galaxy S10 Plus since like the pre-order. So again over here, it is quite the experience. I just can't even describe through this video how it just feels to use the 120Hz panel when coming from a 60Hz panel, like almost from like the decade. But let's just start with the experience. So how is it like to buy a 74,000 rupee phone? Well, I've already done it as you can see with the Galaxy S10 Plus. This is again the same exact price that you can buy the last year's flagship for. So let's start with the box. Honestly, this fake rendered box does actually look much more better than Samsung has officially done it. Like I seriously don't know what's wrong with Samsung and creating just plain black boxes for the Samsung Galaxy S20, but I just prefer the fake rendered one. Again, inside the box you just get the phone. The silicone case is actually at the top of the case. You have to just flip the box, but you do actually get a silicone case this time around, and it does actually fit quite well to be honest. Like almost I have it over here I guess, and you can just fit it quite snug. I mean, it's quite durable to be honest when compared to the older ones, just like the Galaxy S9 Plus. But as you can see, the phone really looks very beautiful in this case. Then again, it fits quite well, it doesn't come off, and with the case it almost feels like you are just holding the phone. Like look at that, it almost looks like bezel-less to be honest. Like even on the white background, as you can see, it really looks very beautiful. So really nice that Samsung has finally provided a silicone case rather than that plastic crap that Galaxy S10 Plus had. Like I had to separately buy a 100 rupees case for it, and until that time it was really scary using this phone. But then again, another things in the box, you have a fast charger which is 25 watts. Well, if you're wondering why it's not 45 watts, not 50 watts or something like crazier 65 watts like from Oppo, like it's a flagship phone. 70,000 rupees for a phone is not a joke. But to be honest, here are the charging times for the Galaxy S20 Ultra. Honestly, it's like nothing when compared to the 25 and 45. It's like 2 to 3 minutes of gaps or here and there when mid charging, but full 100 to 0 is just completely the same. So again, same goes for this thing right over here, which is again much lesser than battery when compared to the Galaxy S20 Ultra. Again, in terms of accessories, Samsung is just removing all the stuff to be honest. So for example, in the box now you get a Type-C AKG, which are finally all the accessories are black. Well, you do actually get black accessories with the black Galaxy S20, but who would want to buy such a beautiful phone in black color? I don't know. I have my beautiful prism blue, I guess that's what it's called, and I was quite used to white accessories. Like my AKGs are just completely now destroyed. But talking about the AKGs, now you get Type-C AKGs in the box and they are now completely black. Now they really feel like any kind of another cheap earphones. It's not as grey as before, like with the Galaxy S8, S9 or the Note 9, which do actually look much more premium than what you actually get now. Well, the Type-C AKGs are like, again, as you know, not a placebo effect or anything, it's just sounds a bit better with the help of a Type-C. But getting the microphone working on any kind of another device like a PC or anything, it's just quite hard. I just couldn't get that thing working on the Discord. I just don't know why. So again, if you just love the AKGs, still the 3.5mm headphone jack ones are just much more better to use. Again, in the box you do not get anything like this. As you can see, it's a Type-C to USB Type A OTG, I guess. You just don't get that anymore. Then again, there is no micro USB to micro Type-C. Like everything is just gone. In 74,000 rupees, everything is just going away. But you do get that powerful charger to be honest. The phone is just extremely easy to use. Like literally it feels like holding just a glass slab. It's much more comfortable than the Galaxy S10 Plus, and even though being taller than the Galaxy S10 Plus, now the way you hold the phone is a bit different. You no longer have to just press the fingerprint scanner right over here, so tip of the phone just falls off, which was the case with the Galaxy S10 Plus. To be honest, as you can see, it's much more lower down when compared to the Galaxy S20, which is quite in the middle. So you hold the phone much more firmly. As you can see, both of them look very beautiful, but look at those bezels, quite the upgrade right over there, as you can see. And even scrolling through the contacts, it just looks much more better. But look at those bezels again. I do actually think on the Galaxy S10 Plus it just looks like much more futuristic. Everyone used to ask me like what phone I'm using because the screenshots do actually look like this. So it kind of used to like flex on those people who don't actually have a punctual phone. But now the status bar is like pretty much as similar as to a normal phone. As you can see, it's completely like normal phone. The punctual is very minute and small, and the camera is again, to be honest, much more better than before in terms of low light handling and blown up areas. but again the form factor is getting much more comfortable. But if you talk about the edges, this phone is just completely flat. Like, yeah, this is just, I don't know, many of the people do actually say that it's a new decade, it's a new Samsung, but removing things that you actually invented is just not the way to go. Like with this camera right over here, the hump is pretty minute. It's not that as bad of the Galaxy S20 Ultra. Again, I haven't actually seen an Ultra in real life, but it's just not that bad. But there is no heart rate sensor, there is no nothing. Well, I didn't actually use the heart rate sensor a single time in my life. I always use it with my Galaxy Watch. But again, over here, removing things, again, you don't have the IMEI number and everything, which is much more secure than before. Unlike the Galaxy S10 right over here, then again, no headphone jack and no Bixby Home, which again, I am actually happy about it. And again, finally, thank God they didn't do it like the Galaxy Note 10, which had everything on the left. Like, that was just hectic. Finally, everything is on the right. Again, the phone's material is much more stickier than before, to be honest. I mean, I'm holding 1.4 lakhs like a joke right now. I'm sorry, but the material is much more stickier than the Galaxy S10 Plus. Like, I can't do this. I'm just afraid. Again, your dual front camera has been gone, but again, it just looks much more cleaner than before. And more stuff about the phone, cause already I guess you have watched almost like 10,000 more reviews. The vibration motor on this thing is quite different, and seriously, one of the best things that I've finally seen after the iPhone's taptic engine. Like, it produces these small little taps in various of apps, to be honest, like for example camera and everything, and it does actually feel quite premium in the hand. Again, the speakers I feel is much more bassier than before, like when compared to the Galaxy S10 Plus, but with this tiny little slit like there, you can't even see it, to be honest. It's just hidden. The speakers fail to produce that kind of surround, but they are just much more bassier, which I do actually quite prefer. And finally, the display. Quad HD 120Hz. Well, the Quad HD 120Hz is still not there. Well, it will be available sooner than before. I guess it was around Galaxy Note 20 time, but as all the companies are now doing it, like for example, OnePlus 8 Pro would be launching with the Quad HD 120Hz. Having Quad HD 120Hz is quite necessity at this price point, and it would be coming soon, so quite happy about that. But until that, 1080p 120Hz just looks amazing. Again, it's a massive display still. 1080p doesn't actually look bad at all. Like, I can't really see the pixels at all. It's just completely sharp, to be honest, to me. Again, what else could I say about this phone? It's just amazing. So rambling about the specs, Exynos 990 in India, and yeah, it's the Exynos. It's not as fast as Snapdragon 865 at all. So for example, here is a benchmark of Mi 10, which has got finally the newer updated drivers since the launch, and it scores 610K. Well, that Antutu benchmark was inside a Mija fridge, a Xiaomi's fridge for testing. This benchmark is from the Realme X50 5G Pro, I guess, which was launched like 2 days back. It still scores 590K without updated drivers, I guess, so that's quite good. And this is what Galaxy S20 gets. 550K on Snapdragon 865. And this is what my Galaxy S20 Plus is getting on the Exynos. Barely 530K. So that does really seem quite a lot of generation gap over there. Like, those phones feel like they are on Snapdragon 865 Plus and we are just stuck on an older chip. So that's quite weird. Well, the Snapdragon Samsung phones would be getting a driver update. That's like one of the Snapdragon's features, but with the Exynos phones, we are just stuck. Well, the Exynos CPU is quite actually powerful. I have never gamed on my Galaxy S10 Plus. I do actually game on my Redmi K20 Pro sometimes, because again it's Snapdragon 855. But in terms of day-to-day usage, you can actually smash the iPhones with the Exynos processor in terms of opening the apps. Like, it does actually feel a generation gap with the Galaxy S10 when kept on the high performance mode, but the phone is just not as fast as you expect. Like, I can expect some things with the Ultra having the 12 gigs of RAM, but these phones aren't fast, at least the Exynos ones. Then again, talking about the cameras, you have 12 megapixel primary, 64 megapixel telephoto, and 12 megapixel wide. Well, the wide angle camera is actually the same sensor as the Galaxy S10 Plus, which is 16 megapixels, but Samsung is actually cropping in a bit in order to adjust the shape correction, but you can't actually force the HDR. Somehow the One UI 2.1 doesn't have any kind of option to always force the HDR. It has auto HDR. So this is a clip from the Galaxy S20, and this is from my Galaxy S10 Plus. I don't know, but I just prefer Galaxy S10 Plus. The shadows in the S10 Plus are much more boosted. Again, I just love Samsung HDR, but somehow you can't actually just force it in One UI 2.1. There is no option for it. Then again, going through camera app, you do have this live focus video, which again is much more improved on the Plus version, having the TOF camera. So if you don't already know, TOF camera does actually can scan 3D objects in live time, unlike the depth sensor, which can just throw a laser pointer and just get the depth data back. This can actually scan 3D objects. So the live focus video is like much more better right over here. Like, can you see? it really feels like a DSLR video right over here. Well, it does really work great in like half a meter, but quite a good option to have. Well, in terms of video recording, you have 8K, which again doesn't really crop that much, but the stuttering over there is just quite hectic. Like 24 FPS is not that kind of a usable frame rate if you're just moving the phone around. If it's on a stand or on a gimbal, I don't care. The highlights do actually look quite great on this f1.8 lens, but still you can't record 60 fps with the wide angle lens. Like, I don't know what's happening right over here. Like, fuck. Like, my K20 Pro over here can actually record 1080p 60 fps from its telephoto wide angle lens and your primary lens. But still, a next generation phone like the Galaxy S20 can't do it. It just can't record 60 fps from all the lenses. I guess even iPhone can do that. I don't know. Let me know in the comment section below. But even recording through all the lenses is quite a treat. And now you can actually switch between front lens and the rear cameras in one recording, which is like mind blowing to me, to be honest. Because switching the codecs right in between through multiple camera lenses, quite a good job. Well, switching between it does actually take a second in terms of 4K. Well, I haven't actually used the Ultra, but oh, here the 30x zoom. The 30x is not that kind of a usable, to be honest. Like, this is a wide angle image and this is 20x. Well, the Samsung phones do actually have a text AI. It does actually boost the text a bit. So if you just want to flex your all new Galaxy S20 or the S20 Plus, you can just whip it out, zoom onto nearest, I guess, KTM showroom, I don't know, just zoom onto it, zoom onto the logo, and it will be much more clearer than any kind of another images taken with that 64MP camera. Well, the viewfinder does actually look quite the crap, but after the pixel binning happens with the 64MP camera, it does actually look pretty great. And then the software experience, One UI 2.1. It's not that of a change from the One UI 2.0 that you get on the Android 10 update, but using this phone, everything feels like a motion blur. Like switching from 60 to 120, it doesn't actually feel like great, to be honest, for like couple of hours, but then you just get used to it. Everything looks like a motion blur. Like, you can see this footage, you might think that I've recorded it into 60 fps, so that's why it looks like motion blur, but that's how it looks to your eyes. Yeah, everything is just too much smooth for your eyes. But now, after a long time that I have to return this phone, the Galaxy S10 Plus just looks stuttery. Like, it just feels stuttery everywhere. I had to actually get 2 to 3 hours to get used to it back after like coming from the 120 Hz. But 120 Hz is like whole another experience. Like, it literally follows your finger. This is like iPhone level touch, because even their touch sampling is like much more greater. Then again, gaming on this phone is yeah, not a lot of titles, to be honest, support even less the 60 fps. Like, for example, PUBG doesn't even offer you extreme fps even on like high settings. So yeah, that's Exynos for you, but that can be patched in like the next update. But major titles like even the Asphalt 9 do actually run in 30 fps, and not even with the highest quality graphics. Like, if you just compare this footage with the iPhone 11 Pro Max, it has far more better effects, 60 fps. Yeah. Well, the titles which do actually support at least the 60 fps do actually look quite great, to be honest. Playing on this device is quite the breeze, but it's just again Exynos. You will actually experience dips everywhere. And yeah, guys, that's pretty much it for my living with Galaxy S20 Plus. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you found this helpful, please drop a like and subscribe down there if you would like me to just review more things that I use in my daily use, like in this living with series. And again, just huge thanks to the Samsung Smart Cafe in Alibag for providing me this Galaxy S20 Plus, so that I can bring this review to you guys. Again, if you just want to book your Galaxy S20 Plus or just experience this same exact device that I am holding in my hand, just give them a visit. Again, if you want to buy my Galaxy S10 Plus, until the pre-orders, it's available right there. And see you guys in the next one. Peace.